All right, welcome to the next edition of the All Protein Podcast. Man, we are excited to talk about sellers today. We just talked about buyers, but there's a lot that goes into listing your house and preparing to sell. And Dwayne, you've been doing this for some time, and so I know you have a list in your head. What are some of those things people can get their properties ready to sell that doesn't cost them an arm and a leg?
I made a big list one time, and I wrote an article called "Pretend You're Selling Your House." And I just started looking at my house and went, ugh. And I realized the trauma, I guess it is, to a seller, because it takes a lot of work to get your house ready to sell because you live in it.
Sure.
And you leave stuff here and there, or you don't clean areas out that need to be cleaned.
You overlook things.
Yes, absolutely. And so I made a list, and I didn't want the list to be like freaking people out.
Sure.
Going, I'll never sell if you're going to do the list like that. But I did want it to be practical.
Yeah.
And so I have a top 10, kind of a Dave Letterman top 10, except I'm not going to go in reverse order down to one. I'm just going to go in random order so that everybody can kind of get an idea of these little things. And I'll go kind of fast so that they can understand. The first thing is empty clutter. Most people don't see the clutter in their house. They just walk right past it every day. Stuff is left where they can get to it quickly or whatever. That stuff needs to be emptied because an empty space makes it feel big.
Sure, that makes sense.
And so the second thing is some people have too much hanging on their walls. If you have too many cool pictures hanging on the wall of your family, the buyer will come in and go, "Oh, I know them. Yes, my daughter went to school with them."
They lose focus.
Yes.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me that my picture is not going to help sell my house?
That's correct.
Okay, just making sure,
Yeah. The other thing I tell people usually is touch up painted surfaces, like near the front door especially. Paint is kind of expensive at an all-time high right now, but if you can paint a wall or some trim or something near the front door, that fresh paint,
it goes a long way.
Yes, it gives a great first impression.
Makes it bright. I mean, I even think about that as a realtor. There's so many things in my personal house, right? Like you go to a builder's house and it's usually not finished.
Right.
And I look at it and I think, oh man, if we could do this over time, so that when we're ready, we're ready. Mm-hmm. And so when you say paint, it just kind of, I hate painting, but it does freshen everything up, man.
It really does. It absolutely changes the appearance. Painting and floor covering are the two biggest. And one of the things, my number 4 on the list is perk up the front porch. I'm going to get to the flooring because I'm going to come back to that. But if you perk up the front porch, that's a first impression when you come up. And even with some outdoor lighting, if you added a little outdoor lighting in the evening, lighting up the front of the house or whatever, because some people drive by in the evenings or whatever, and especially as we enter into wintertime when it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. And so it's good to have some outdoor lighting and stuff. And number 5, it sounds really crazy, but make windows sparkle. Clean the windows. People don't clean windows.
So you don't like the fact that my kids' fingerprints are
no, that probably needs to be taken
dog
care of.
noses. Like there's
clean windows it pulls the outdoors in.
Sure,
and it really helps the natural light come through without the smudges and so forth.
Natural light. I mean, especially if you got that clean paint. I mean, it sells.
It really will.
Yeah.
And this other one's kind of weird. Everybody has a junk drawer, miscellaneous drawer. Clean that out every once in a while. Empty it every now and then. Throw some of that stuff away.
But we may need it.
I know, but you can put it somewhere else.
I mean, I got 15 HDMI cords.
In your junk drawer?
Yeah, but there may be that time.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we always think, but really, it's time to go.
It's time for some of that stuff to go. I also tell people to clean out the pantry and donate food that you bought. You thought you were going to put to this recipe. Donate that to food shelter, or if it's out of date, throw it away.
Yeah.
And just empty it. A spacious pantry makes the new buyer go, wow, this is huge.
That makes sense.
If it's cluttered, it's going to feel small.
Yeah.
And so, number 8 is have the floors really clean, like clean carpet professionally, but have the floor sparkle. As I was saying earlier, paint on the walls and really clean, beautiful floors are huge to the impression of a room, first impression of a room.
Well, and I know too, like beyond cleaning carpet, like I learned at one point, if your carpet starts to roll, sometimes you can get some extra life by stretching that carpet out, and it didn't cost much.
And no, it's very, very reasonable, and you can find a good flooring guy to help you with that. Number 9, I think I'm on, is to deep clean each bathroom. We all know what happens in bathrooms, and that's where we get dirt off of us and stuff. But we got to clean that up, and really, that needs to really be clean and smell fresh every time anybody comes into the house.
Sure.
But especially if you're on the market.
And I mean, you just, you want to, you shower to get clean. It's kind of, the mildew just isn't a good place for that to be. Even though it happens, it's time to get down there and scrub a dub a little bit.
Absolutely. And number 10, and by the way, this list could probably go on and on, but I'm going to leave it at this because I think it's a good starting place for a person interested in selling, but to make sure the lights all burn. Like, check the light bulbs. If you can, put LEDs everywhere because they take less energy, and they're nice and bright and crisp. And I think it's really important when you flip a switch, the lights come on, and make sure all that's working properly. But one of the things I really tell people, if you're getting ready to move, it becomes a mindset. You have to kind of get in the mood to do this.
That's right.
Because in the wintertime, you don't need summer clothes in your closet.
Yep.
So you make your closets look bigger if you just have certain seasons in there instead of all year long clothing in your closet. Little bitty things like that can be super helpful and make a really good impression on a buyer.
Yeah, and when we talked about buyers, I mean, everybody becomes a buyer again, and guess what? You're going to want that stuff when you're looking at a house, and so it's a great opportunity to take the mindset of, if somebody's going to buy my house, what are they wanting to see? What's the best parts of my house? Well, we get kind of caught up, and we should, as it's our home, but that transition from it being our home to a house we're selling is tough for people.
And the old adage is so true, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression.
That's good. So that's good.
I think you have to think about that as you go to market.
Yeah, so brighten things up, get some good curb appeal, make sure everything's working, make sure everything's clean. None of this is costing us a ton of money.
Right.
And the return is just
big.
Unbelievable.
And we'll have this list. If people want to email the All Pro team, we'll be happy to share this list with them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Or just ask us any questions you may have, because I'm sure there's things you've thought of that we know about, and maybe you want to add to that. And so we love to get feedback in the comments and to participate, not just listen to this podcast, but be a part of it. We always talk about wanting to be a part of your story, but man, we want those folks being a part of ours as well. And so hopefully this is a helpful list for you. Hopefully this helps you get to the place that you are ready to sell, and don't be scared just because of market and trends and all of that, because ultimately, I heard you say it a lot of times, but there's a hut for every butt, and so we got to make sure that we set ourselves apart and put us on the higher part of the market with doing some simple things, and man, it'll go a long way. So please give us a shout, anything we can do to help you, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Dwayne, just for helping us with sellers, and we look forward to being a part of your listing.